done in detail in Inside Scientology in the Janet Reitman book. She was a paid-up Scientologist, took it very, very seriously, a young woman, maybe 30, and she had a psychotic episode in Florida, and instead of being taken for, and given bed care in a facility, she was taken by Scientologists from a hospital and more or less sequestered in a hotel for a week or maybe longer, and died in the hands of the Scientologists.
And what was her cause of death?
I believe it was and she'd been having, a total psychotic break. She was, I think, attacking people who were attempting to, take care or holding her hostage, depending on how you define it. And, there was a whole script that Hubbard had for dealing with people in psychosis, but I don't think it was, medically supported. It was basically involved ignoring and keeping them secluded, kind of locking them in a room.
Now, I saw an interview with you where you were talking about someone who used to be a former Scientologist, a woman. She wasn't a former Scientologist. She had gone undercover to sort of investigate them.
Oh, yeah.
And you were talking about the auditing having a positive benefit.
Yes. I think it probably does. I mean, I think any kind of...
But on you.
Yeah, I mean, the auditing I only did one session, and that was with, the main guy in the film is a guy called Marty Rathman, and he was, there's a sense in which the film is as much about him as it is about Scientology. He was a Mr. Fix-It within Scientology. He was the number 2 to David Miscavige. David Miscavige is the guy who took over in 1986 or thereabouts from L. Ron Hubbard and has been running it ever since. He's an unaccountable leader who is in essence the Pope of Scientology, and there are many allegations of him being physically abusive towards his followers. Marty Rathman was his right-hand man for many years. Marty Rathman left in 2004 or thereabouts, and he's sort of our deep throat in the film. But he also cops to the fact that when he was in Scientology, he was involved in all kinds of devious covert activity involving private investigators, destruction of documents, and also a certain amount of physical violence himself, which he, has apologized for. And so it becomes a sort of examination of him and his ability to, the fact that he's been seduced by this thing, and it's still in certain ways, it's still in him. Almost by definition, you can't be in something that long and that. Leah Remini was a celebrity parishioner, right? She was going around the celebrity set. She was doing Scientology, but she was not in the Sea Org. The Sea Org is this clergy, it's the inner sect. It's the difference between someone who goes to a Catholic church a few times a year, right, and eats communion and thinks and prays a few times a year. That's okay. You can be a Scientologist in that way, right? Which maybe your neighbor was. But if you're in the Sea Org, it's somewhere between being in the Vatican and being a monk. You take a vow of poverty. Volunteer, you
take a vow of poverty.
Yeah, you get paid like below minimum wage, tiny amounts. You're leading a kind of Spartan existence to save the planet. You sign a contract for 40 billion years or something. I think it is literally because it's supposed to cover all your future lifetimes, right? So when you come back, you're still in the Sea Org. In fact, their slogan is something like "Vena Imus" or whatever the Latin is. It's "We come back," meaning like we come back in future lifetimes and we're still going to be in the Sea Org. Anyway, so it's really important to get that distinction because, I wouldn't want people to have the impression that everyone in Scientology is sort of going around in a uniform, marching around on a vow of poverty. That's just the Sea Org guys, and most of them many of them live down in Hemet outside LA. And that's where...
Where's Hemet?
It's outside, if you head towards Palm Springs, basically. It's in the desert.
That's where they live?
Yeah, there's a base down there.
Although they have some giant center down there that they're going to start producing movies, right?
Well, there's a center in Hollywood that they've just bought, yeah. That they've just, in fact, not just bought, they've just refurbed it and they've opened it.
And they're going to open it to...
But which is bizarre because they have...
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
$50 million movie and TV studio complex in Hollywood.
That just opened. But they have a complex in Hemet as well, bizarrely. So I don't know why they need another one.
They like buying shit. Apparently, at one point in time, they were the number 2 real estate holders in Los Angeles.
Well, fascinating.
As far as I
Not all, maybe Hollywood, not
Maybe.
Los maybe.
I don't know.
But I think a lot of that is to do with, someone explained this to me. One of the rules about a non-profit or about being a religion, having their religious status, is they cannot hoard their income. Like, money that comes in has to be spent, otherwise they're in violation of their charitable status. So someone just told me this the other day. So in other words, they have to kind of keep buying buildings because there needs to be a cash outflow. Which sort of makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's totally understandable. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
And then so this guy Marty Rathbun, who's sort of my guide through Scientology, and he's a fascinating guy.
And Marty was in for how long?
I want to say 24 years, maybe it was 27 years, but I think he said 27 years.
He had a nice outfit on. He had a nice uniform.
He got the uniform. He was
golden ropes around the shoulder.
Well, I'll say this about him. If you're in it and you're up at the top echelons as he was, you are on some kind of crazy sci-fi adventure. If you think about it.
And I think it's real. There he is. Look at that.
You are living a kind of Jedi reality,
Look at that rope. It goes across the chest.
You're saving planets.
What is his medals for? Look at all his medals.
No, I think that might be. Some of them are photoshopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Occasionally they add it. Well, that might not be. Some of them add medals just to make fun of. That might be a real one. I don't know.
But the one that was above it seems real, right? Now look at that one.
That's real.
Now,
so he doesn't look like that now because that's 30 years ago.
How amazing is it that they give them military medals? I mean, it looks like no different than what a general would have.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing in a way. It's an exciting life. They probably wouldn't be doing the dishes in that outfit. Like that's special occasions. So.
Special occasions. And I'm sure he would get special treatment. I'm sure being the number 2 guy must have been an amazing privilege.
No, because there's only really a number 1, which is David Miscavige, and then there's just everyone else. Do you know what I mean? There's Tom Cruise, and then there's
but Tom Cruise is kind of number 1, right?
Well,
he's right up there.
No, because actually, don't you remember in Lawrence Wright's book, there's a bit where Tom Cruise explains, I think maybe to Nazanin Boniardi, like his girlfriend at the time, he says, he's annoyed with his girlfriend. This is after it split up from, you know who I mean. Nicole Kidman, who, by the way, she was considered an SP because her father was a psychiatrist, I believe. So he went out with a woman called Nazanin Boniardi for a while, and there's a section in Going Clear where they talk about, I think Miscavige came around for dinner or something, and I think it was anyway, his girlfriend at the time was having trouble understanding what Miscavige was saying because he speaks quite fast, and so she was like, "What are you saying?" And Tom Cruise was really upset and said to her, "Don't you get it? There's LRH, then there's David Miscavige. COB is what they call it. Then there's COB, and then there's me."
You're doing a goddamn good Tom Cruise impression.
It's just
do that again.
Don't you get it? There's LRH, then there's COB, and then there's me. Don't you get it?
Don't you get it? You're glib.
You're glib, man. You're glib, man. You're glib.
That's a really good impression.
You just got to be. You know what?
I feel him.
Whatever this one has helped. Like, I don't think I need Scientology if I've got
Caveman
Caveman Nitro.
Yeah, 270 milligrams.
That's given me an OT edge. I'm on OT5 right now.
Do you know what Morning Thunder is?
I think I had that yesterday.
You mix this Caveman coffee with some emulsified MCT oil in an iced coffee. That's what I have every morning.
What is emulsified MCT?
It's MCT oil that you can mix very easily with cold beverages or
What is MCT oil?
A medium chain triglyceride oil. It's the most nutritious aspects of coconut oil that are blended together. They spin in a centrifuge to extract the
Did we just do a commercial?
Sorry, you can get it anywhere. MCT oil is readily available at any sort of health food store, and a lot of Erewhon and Whole Foods and those type of places carry it.
I've never even heard of it.
You know of coconut oil, right?
Yeah.
They're healthy fats. They're really good for your brain.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So Morning Thunder.
The point being, we were on so many tangents
we
right
went
now.
off.
But your original question,
what does COB stand
COB
for?
is chairman of the board.
There
we go. COB RTC.
There's LRH, there's COB,
and then there's me,
and then there's Glib.
Then you're Glib, and then there's Matt Lauer, and then there's John Travolta just below Matt Mount.
So
Apparently they have quite a dim view of John Travolta within Scientology.
What?
Well,
Why?
This is
All the
gossip.
butt fucking,
Just
or what is it?
I think
Massage
he's
therapy?
viewed. I don't know. Marty Rathbun told. That's allegedly. Can I throw an allegedly in there?
Allegedly, they have a bad view of him.
I'm just part. But everything, like a lot of what I'm saying, is based on once he left, Marty Rathbun spilled his guts on the internet. In in the name, in order to let people know what was going on, and he was the biggest thing, I would say, in terms of exposing Scientology for what it is, probably in the history of Scientology.
John Travolta's wife was on Fear Factor, and I got to meet John Travolta because his wife was in the finals. She lost to Coolio, who was. By the way, you want to talk about a guy who performs very well under the influence of marijuana. Coolio might be at the top of my list, right up there with Joey Diaz. Coolio, they would open up his trailer, and it was like a Cheech and Chong movie. It was hilarious. And he would go out there, and he would perform these stunts just high as a kite. I mean, just gone. Because you look in his eyes, they were just glazed over, and he would perform flawlessly. And the last stunt involved balance. It was his balance thing. And I had a conversation with him before we did it. I was, unfortunately, stone cold sober at the time, I believe. I've done this a million times in a million different lives and other universes. I'm ready to do it right now. Like, get after it, sir. Good luck to you. But John Travolta's wife, what is her name again?
Kelly Preston.
She's very, very nice. Very nice, and she seems so normal. I had conversations with her, and she even sent me a gift. There was some sort of protein powder that she was drinking. Some health drink that she was drinking. I asked her about it, and she said, give me your address, I'll have some sent to you, and this and that. So she sent some to the studio, I believe. She was very nice.
I'm sure. Well, Greta Van Susteren is a Scientologist.
Get the fuck out of here!
That's the one that surprises me.
Really?
Isn't she a journalist? I would have thought.
Yes.
I would have thought
Fox
that.
News.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Is she on the? I don't know. Is she on the tone scale or not? I don't really get.
Yeah. How can she be?
Maybe there's
inside.
Maybe there's an exception.
Well, I met her once as well. She seemed very nice as well. There's something about George Carlin.
I'm sure she is nice, and I'm sure you can be. I mean, not to sound like a broken record.
Well, again, my former neighbor many years ago, was a very nice guy. And I've met a lot of Scientologists inside of Hollywood, and they all have this actory thing going on, which is, I would like to believe that they are as nice as they're pretending to me, but
Hello.
Hi, how was work?
that actory thing.
How you doing, love?
Yes,
Doing all right. Steven's gonna cook spaghetti.
One of my early experiences when I was talking to a Scientologist, when I was trying to first negotiate access to the church back in 2003, was I'd sent her some old documentaries that I'd done. So this is who I am, this is what I do, and she was on the phone. She said, "Oh yeah, I got the DVDs," and I was watching them, and she started laughing in the act of talking about.
Like a fake laugh?
Yeah, and I was like, that didn't feel quite real.
Yeah.
And then later on, another person I knew who was a Scientologist did the same thing when I saw the thing you did on television.
Oh, that's a pet peeve of mine.
I was like, oh wow, maybe
That is a giant.
maybe that's part of what they do, is sort of some kind of weird love bombing. I don't know, maybe that was just coincidence.
Well, it makes sense because they're trying to be influential, and they're trying to be charming.
Yeah.
Right? I find a lot of the Scientologists that I've met that are actors, they're extremely charming. Like, that's one of the things you hear about Tom Cruise. He looks you in the eye, he talks to you, remembers your name.
Handshake.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's true. I mean, they drill, as I said, they drill on looking people in the eye.
But let's just assume that that's his real behavior pattern now. It's a very good behavior
Nice.
pattern.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
I'm in favor of positivity.
Yes.
Although I think the world needs negative people.
What?
I think there need to be some.
What?
Don't you?
But wait a minute.
It's part of the ecology of life is to have.
Yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everyone was positive, then, I mean, it would be a little too much.
Well, it would be very strange if the world did become enlightened. Like, what if some pharmaceutical company devised some pill that eliminates all the negative aspects of humanity?
So much.
We all just start taking it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, how many people brush their teeth? Pretty much everybody, right? What if everybody started doing whatever this is? This new thing.
What's up, bitch?
Right?